So I'd like to start this channel by bringing one of these Lincolns back to life. And I think I'm going to start with this one here. I know it looks rough, but it's actually not in bad shape at all. The interior is quite clean, but I did have to pull the door panel off to get some keys cut for it. And this car is fairly complete. So I think we will start by resurrecting this good old girl. The interior was actually quite nice. It's not all dry rotted. I've got the back seat in the garage because I already cleaned it. Like I say, I took the door panel off because I had to pop the lock to get some keys cut. If I remember rightly, this one does have a radiator in it, so it shouldn't take too much trouble. These hoods are heavy. This car is complete. So I think I'll start bringing this car back to life and see if we can get it running. I did throw a battery in it one time, and I think the starter solenoid was bad because it was just clicking on me. But here's a project to start with. So I'll dig up some wheels and see if we can get it in the garage, and I'll roll some of the other cars out so I can make some room. I remember rightly, the roof is not in bad shape. I know it looks bad, but when you see a typical Mark III Continental, these are all rotted out completely. This side is actually in better shape. So these vinyl tops are available, but they're not cheap. And that's the correct one with the seam here, because the reproductions have the seam coming up here. They're wrong. And I believe the trunk's not rotted out. Because if people know about these cars, the Achilles heel of these cars is Ford decided to put these fiberglass padding in there, and it sucks up water. And that's why these quarter panels rot out on these cars. And the other reason is, with these vents, they have these drains and they rot out, just as you can see there. They're rotted out, and it just fills the trunk up with water. This one has a little rat's nest in it. I know I did find a brand new, that's not a brand new cap, there was a brand new cap. Screw the cap in here. Brand new taillight, they got smashed. That's the box of the taillight. And that's a anti-sway device. I have no idea how it works. It took me a while to figure out what this thing was. But anyway, the inside's quite clean. This is not white, it's actually a blue. It probably shows up white on the camera, but it's called platinum blue. So let me dig some wheels up and see if we can bring this old girl back to life. Hey, welcome back viewers. It's actually a couple of days later. I had some problems. I had a tyre go flat and the battery died on the trailer. And over there I had a camper for sale that somebody came and picked up, so I had to spend some time helping them load it with the slide on. Get it out of here. But anyway, let's get this trailer ready. I'm just going to take the battery charger off and get this car loaded up. I was just going to pull it in here, but I think I'll leave it on the trailer, drop the trailer down and pressure wash the engine before we pull it in here, because it's got a couple of rat's nests under there. So I'll get this unhooked, the battery charger unhooked, and start backing in. I'll speed that part up so you don't sit there forever and watch me load the part up. Oh, let's see how dirty this is. It's pretty greasy. I did see some rat's nests in there somewhere, so I do want to clean it up a little bit. But it doesn't look too bad. Battery tray's got a little bit of rot in it. Yeah. But anyway, I'll get some degreaser, spray it down. The only thing is to degrease it sometimes does pull the colour out of these air cleaners and valve covers. Another thing, guys, if you own Mark IIIs and you want a build sheet, you don't want to pull the back seat out. If the insulation is still here, there's usually a build sheet under here. That's the easiest one to find, but usually, like here, the rats eat them up and the build sheet's gone. But there are two build sheets in the back seat, one on the lower and one on the upper. And if you're really, really desperate for a build sheet, there is also a build sheet behind this panel here, right behind the clock. There's a build sheet wrapped around the wiring loom. If you want to get some information on the car, what was fitted to it, or get a Marty report, because I get Marty reports on all my cars. That clears up any doubt. This is a fairly basic car. It doesn't have cruise, there's no button, no magic eye. There's usually a magic eye sits here. So this is just a very basic stock standard one. No sunroof, unfortunately. I wish I could get hold of a sunroof car. That'd be my ultimate. But yeah, but it is an early 71 with the high back seats. Later on in 1971 they went back to the lower seats because older folks complained that they couldn't see behind them very well when backing up and reversing, and these cars only came with one mirror, which is stupid, but it's just that one mirror. Only the 69s came with a mirror, and very, very few have them. I only have 2 cars with mirrors, and I've got 14 Mark IIIs. You see here, that's a factory mirror, but like I say, 1969 only. I know the video quality is different on this camera. I had to switch my cameras out because my phone ran out of memory. So I've got to upload all my photos and videos and clean my regular phone out, which is a Samsung. But anyway, I'll get some spray, get this thing sprayed down and let it soak. Then we'll start pressure washing it, clean it up a little bit so it's easier to work on. Because I know I'm going to have to do the fuel pump, and I'll do a video on this because you've got to take the power steering out, otherwise you cannot get to that fuel pump. So that's the first thing I'll do to this car, is put a fuel pump on it, clear the tank out, and see if we can get this car to run, and probably have to pull that carburetor off. The carburetors in these cars are atrocious. The 4300s, they're terrible carburetors. They're okay for a while, but they just always seem to go bad. There's another trick I'll show you in another video of how to improve that carburetor just a little bit. Anyway, I can get this thing sprayed up, and then we'll start pressure washing this engine bay. And these hoods were always black on the inside. They were never body color. They were all black. Some people might think, oh, that used to be a black car because it's got a black hood underneath, but no, they're black. It's white. They didn't paint them under there. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, I'm ready again. Okay, here we go. I may have to give it another shot. It's pretty baked on, but definitely looks a lot better. These valve covers are really caked up with grease. Don't know, the valve cover was leaking, or the AC pump, because this AC pump was completely covered in oil too. It might have blown all its oil out of there, because this side is worse than this side. And I did notice once I cleaned all the dust airing off, this wiring has been butchered a little bit. Have to figure that out. Yeah, looks like there might be a hole in the heater box too. Might be cracked. Common on these cars when I find them, the AC compressor belt's gone, because these are like Cadillacs. They're the climate control. The AC compressor is always on, no matter what you set the temperature to. Sorry if this wind is noisy, it's blowing like anything out here. Trying to get the camera back inside the garage. So I've got to pull her out, and then we'll roll this thing in. I'll just open the doors up and take a look around. See if we can bring this old girl back to life. 40 years, I think it was. 83 was the last tag. That's what I said earlier on. Keep forgetting I got so many vehicles. Yep, 83. Well, I think she'll come back to life. A little bit of rot there. It's typical on these cars. There's a big padded fiberglass thing in here. I'll pull it out and show it to you. That's why these cars rot out. And also, if I can get the camera under here, there's no drain holes in these damn things, so they fill up with water, and then that fiberglass sucks up all the water, and they just sit there and rot. From here forward, these cars are always good. Hardly any rust. It's always from here back. It's always these quarter panels. The roof rots out because there's the vinyl gets a little hole in it. It's full of foam padding, and it just fills up with water, and they just sit there and rot. And when the cars sit around and don't move and don't get any air circulation from driving around with little air resistance, they just rot away. To get these off, I've got to take all the interior panels out. I'm going to start replacing this top. I have to do some rust repair. This is not bad. I've had them when they're completely rotted out, but they're repairable, and they always go around here in this corner. because they don't seal the edge before they put the glass in. They should run a bead of seal around there, because they do on the front. Get up here. From the factory, there's a bead of silicone in here, but that stops here and the rest is just open. See, it just fills up with water and rots away. This roof's still good. Unfortunately, my windshield is busted. I didn't realise that. They're not cheap. I have to use a used one because I don't think they make the 70-71s. They do for the 69, but anyway, get this car out. I'll get the gold 69 out. This is actually a very early 69. This has a mirror too. It's the only two cars I got in the mirrors, this one and that red one. Sorry I'm breathing a little heavy. Early last year I got COVID, and I've now got long-term COVID. I'm very short of breath and easily tired. So, but yeah, so let's get this girl out. We'll get that one in here, get the lights put on. Not long ago I just bought all these LEDs. What a difference. Turn some lights on. What a difference these LEDs make. All my old tube lights were all dying, and it was getting darker and darker and darker in here. I've got them all switched separately so I don't have to run them all together. But yeah, it's nice having these lights. Eventually I'm going to put some along the walls as well when I start doing a bit of body work, because this one here needs body work. It was vandalized. I was at a car meet and somebody decided to hit it with a hammer, because the way the car was parked, nothing else could hit, so somebody did that deliberately. It's a shame because it's a rare colour on this car. This is a D9 Glamour Moondust Blue. So now I've got to paint those quarters. I'll probably do the whole lower half, because there is a couple of marks here and there. These were on there when I bought the car. I've had this car nearly 2 years, same as this one. Bought this one about 2 years ago, just about. Anyway, this one came out of Delaware, one family owner. This one came out of Wisconsin, and 20 miles where I brought that one from, I found this one in Wisconsin. This was out of Utah. The guy hadn't been living in Wisconsin too long. This does need a paint job, so I may do a video on stripping this one and painting it, because you can see the cracks. It had a couple of Wisconsin winters. Obviously had moisture in the paint. It gets in there and just pulls all the paint up. They're dusty. I live in Arizona. You can never get away from dust. But yeah, so I might do a full repaint video on this car. This is a 69, but a later one, has the headrests. This is an early one. The very first production cars didn't come with headrests. And what's unusual with this car, it's original. This one came in two-tone. It's the only one I've seen where it came with a two-tone piping. So I've got to find some leather for this. This one needs repairing. The bottom halves. And so does this one. It was repaired once before, but it didn't last long. It was patched up. You should be able to see all the cracks. Cracking in the seats. That one's actually got a hole in it. But the back of it looks nice, and the door panels are nice and clean. This one they all run good. Good running cars. But that's probably the strongest one I've run. The earliest one. Because it has no smog at all. They started smogging them up a little bit. That one's got a smog pump on it. Sold new in... Well, they actually owned a Lincoln dealership. But it was in West Virginia. And I've got a picture of it when they dragged it out of the barn. It was a barn. I know the old barn find, but this was a barn find. There's one family owner who've got a bunch of documentation in the trunk. Let me pop the trunk for you. See what I mean? Get them from the other side. I don't want to ding the doors up. I am a member of the Lincoln Continental Owners Club. I don't own the most Mark III Continentals, even at 14. There is another member that has more cars than me, which I couldn't believe. This car's so original. Still have, it's kind of awkward, still has the touch-up paints in there. That's just a little card. Owner's manual's in, that's a card from the card shows. I've won 3 trophies with this car. Yeah, gotta pull my seat out, the spare wheel's out, it's on that white one out there. But got all the, there's my Marty report. Here's the original invoice. You can see what the car sold for. $9,708. They probably paid $7,400 because they own the dealership. These are all my workshop manuals. 68 workshop manual. And this is the bulletin book for the Mark III. Here is all my build sheets. I've got a bunch of build sheets here. So these are all like the recalls when something went wrong. How to repair ink. It does have the template. This is the template to put the lettering on the trunk lid. So you make a copy of that. I don't want to chop the original and make a copy of it. And you cut out the little, I can't unfold it right now. You cut out little holes and that's where you put the lettering. How to fix the windows, because these are terrible for the windows. There's a cheat where you can drill some holes in the door and repair it that way. I like to pull them out and do them correctly. I don't like drilling holes in doors. So that's those. And like I say, they owned the Lincoln dealership and these were their dealer books. I've got another bulletin book. This one also covers the Mercuries. These books are quite neat. This is the product data book. I'm not worried about the paint on this. The paint on this car is gone. So it's all the products. Data book from 71. But this one here is the cool book. It's the one I like to look through it every now and then. This is when you went to the dealership. You got to pick your fabrics. Different fabrics for different grades. And then it's kind of hard doing this with one hand. Anyway, and then your leather, or your leather colours. And then you go to the Continental Mark III. It's not a Lincoln, it's just a Continental. And then you get to choose your upholsteries. That car there has that upholstery. That is a 71. It's a high back seat 71. It's your leather choices. And then your vinyl tops. These are the 5 colours. And what's really cool about this book, so flip it open. Let's see if I can get this to stay open. And flip it this way. This is your pinstripes. This was the pinstripes that you ordered when you ordered the vehicle. And then you chose your color. These are all the color choices. So my car was a D9. So I'll go here. D9 optional extra. Sorry about this. That's the regular metallic blue. And it's a heavier flake. I don't know if you can see it in the camera. So you got that, and then you could choose the pinstripe you wanted with your car. So mine was ordered with a white pinstripe, as you can see. But yeah, it's a pretty neat book. I'd like to get the ones for the 69s and the 70s as well, but these, they don't come up very often and they're quite expensive. But yeah, every time the owner of this car, his family, he goes and he finds more stuff for me and sends me more stuff. Sent me one of the dealership flags. It's got nice flag. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit. It's kind of hard doing this one hand. Yeah, kind of neat. And then a couple of months ago, I get a little box in the mail, and then I get this. It's kind of cool. Not really my taste, but I couldn't say no. It's a Continental Mark III ring. I just collect. I like collecting the memorabilia as much as the cars. Yeah. So, but yeah, this is an original paint car too. You can see the paint sticker there, paint control sticker. There's actually a weird one I've never seen before. The car's not perfect, but it's still a nice car. There's another paint control sticker under here. It'll show up, but right there is another paint control sticker. I've never seen that before. Like I say, you see they're all black, and there under that, I've got a little light here. Hang on, let's see if I can get this. Pull this little light up. There's it's not really bright. Under there, that felt, there's a build sheet under there. I got one out of this car. I got one out of the dash as well because I pulled the clock out to repair the clock. But the clock stopped again. Those Cartier clocks are just plastic junk. The gears are just plastic. Where these ones are real clocks. And I've had this car over a year now. And the clock's still ticking. Yep. So I service the clocks. But those plastic gear ones they're electronic clocks too, they're not mechanical. But let's get this car out of here. And we'll get this car in the garage and we'll do a little walk around a little bit more and see what we're dealing with, see if we can resurrect this thing. Looks a lot better just with a good set of tyres on it. This paint will actually come back. I've brought worse paint back to life. But yeah, let's see if we can bring this girl back to life. Like I say, the seats are not bad. They're dusty, but they're still soft and pliable. I'll get them treated with some conditioner because that is leather. Got the other seats up there because they do clean up very nice. This is the back seats out of the car. There's a little bit of dust on there, but and then I had it sitting on the ground. But yeah, the seats clean up very nicely. Got another complete set of upholstery there. That's out of Meadowlark Lemon's car. Those are the parts of my Mustang. What I eventually want to do is, there's a funny video. I'll see if I upload it one day. When I brought this Mustang out of a junkyard about 2 years ago, it had flat tyres, and there's no way you can get a vehicle up this concrete ramp here by just pushing it by hand. It's just too steep. It's a lot steeper than it may look in the video. But what we did is we got the Mustang there and we ran a cable all the way out the door, and we had a buddy Toyota truck out there, and we dragged the Mustang in here through that door. It was quite a laugh. I had a couple of buddies here helping out. We had a good night. So yeah, but one day I'll might do some more on this. I had to patch the floors. It wasn't really a rusty car. But what happened was a raccoon got in there and he peed in here, and the pee and the poo was what rotted out the floor. And the back window did leak. So I have put a brand new trunk pan in here. I know it's a little messy right now, but so the trunk pan's just about done. Just got to seal it up and get underneath it and undercoat it. I put a quarter panel in. There's a patch in here. The other side I was going to do the same, but this car was hit early in life, and this quarter panel had already been patched. And it's pretty nasty here. So I was just going to, you can see where I marked it out, but I'm going to chop it off and put a full quarter on it. This car was hitting the front corner. The hood was bad, so I brought a new hood. And the door was gouged. I've got a Cougar outside, a 72 Cougar. That's where I got the floor pans out of. But the trunk was not usable because the Cougar got T-boned and it spun around, and the whole trunk was smashed in as well. As you can see, my roof leaks. I've got a roof leak up there. I need to get that treated before it gets bad. But yeah, I might do some videos on this old girl. It's light pewter metallic with a vermilion orange interior, orange and black. It is a sport interior. The deluxe. I bought a brand new hood. I may buy a door for it. I patched one of the doors and the other door is borderline. So, but anyway, back to this. I keep getting carried away with these cars. So my next video, I think, oh, these are heavy. I can't oil these up. My next video, I'll show you how to do the fuel pump on one of these. You've got to take that steering pump off there without disconnecting it. You can do it. I did a 429 not long ago. I had a station wagon, 71 Colony Park. It's since gone. It's now in New York, Long Island. I saved a lot of station wagons from that junkyard, and they sold like hotcakes. I think I bought 7 or 8 station wagons out of there, all 60s. But yeah. Then after this car here, I'm still deciding whether to do that early production car or Meadowlark Lemon's car. I've got titles on both of them, they're both titled. I have got a title on this, but it's not my name yet, but the title's good to go. It's actually an estate. I've got the lawyer's sign off, executor. Yeah. So like I say, the next one I think I'll go to Napa and get a fuel pump for it and get that fuel pump replaced, and probably pull that carburetor off and clean it and show you a little trick to make those 4300s run a little bit better. And hopefully, let's see how the oil is. Let me check the oil on this old bill yet. Yeah, it's got oil. So I think it'll run. I'll just run it as is. I don't want to spend too much money on it if this thing's shot. Because the other thing is, I haven't worked for over a year, so money's a little tight. So it's neat to see still got the factory markings in there. I don't see does it have the paint mark on here? No, this car's been repainted. There is one in the trunk. The inside of the trunk's not been repainted. It should have a stamp there. No, it's gone. There's normally a little yellow stamp there. Paint control okay. The jack label's still there. It's not in bad shape. Probably clean this up. Just dirt. Little bit of rust there. These, I've seen them where they're all completely rotted away. But this one's not in bad shape. I don't know how long it sat in that carport for. That barn, it was kind of a lean-to. But I don't see any rot holes. I've got a couple of cars there that have got some decent rot in them. I can show you where they rot out, what to look for if you go looking for one of these. These are hard to find now too, these letters. I was lucky that green one over there came with a box of spare taillights and a few bags full of letters and stuff, all the emblems. So they must have parted a couple of cars out. There's two full sets of taillights there and some front marker lights and a bunch of emblems. So that's nice. I do have the Continental, there's the letters there. I think I have another bag of these letters somewhere. They're hard to find, and I will do a video on rebuilding these because these are a problem on these cars. This is not out of that car. This is out of a regular Lincoln. Oh, my back hurts. I pinched my sciatic nerve a couple of weeks ago, so if you see me walking a little funny, that's why. My sciatica is killing me. But yeah, I will do a video on doing these window switches. You can rebuild these because they are prone. As soon as you leave the window open and a little bit of rain gets in there, they don't work anymore. There's the armrest for it. So I'll show a video how to rebuild these switches. That gets the windows working again, especially these ones. Normally these don't work. But they're quite neat the way they operate. I'll show you on this car here. They don't roll down. They slide backwards. It's pretty neat. I'll just take the keys out of my cars. They are insured, but yeah, I don't like rolling because they get tight. See, this one's tight already. It needs to be re-greased. Well, it's the switches again. Normally this car does work. I drive this car the most, and it has been sitting outside a couple of times, so it switches. That's why I was saying these switches are always bad on these cars. I probably need to run the battery to get the power running. See, but Got to pull these little switches out of here. Where are we? Down here. And get them cleaned up. So I'll show you how to do those and how to replace the hockey pucks and the switches. I know the ignition's still on. I'll turn it off in a minute. So I'll get a fuel pump and see if we can get this old girl started. Figure out what's wrong with that clicking noise. So I think it's a solenoid. I have to make sure this distribution block is still good. It feels a little soft. The earlier ones have a solenoid here. This is a later one. I think this car should have ABS as well. It's a 71, so it should have ABS. Take a look on the dash. It was optional, and then later on it did become standard. Yeah, see, there's an ABS light right there. And this car has done 56,000 miles. It will clean up. I know the dash is bad. I have to find a dash for it. Unfortunately, that's the only bad thing about this interior, and a mirror, but I've got to replace the windshield. Does it have tilt? Yes, it does. It does have tilt. Normally only the cruise control cars have tilt, but this one has tilt. If it springs like that, the tilt's there. And it's a rim blow. This one doesn't work. They dry rot. They get all hard. I'll show you on this car. I've got to turn the ignition off anyway. These have the rim blow steering wheel. It's kind of neat. I replaced this one. It's brand new. Battery's low, I can tell by the horns. That's why those windows aren't rolling. Oh well, we'll see you on the next one. We'll see if we can get this girl running. Thanks for looking and watching. Please like and subscribe. I really need subscribers, I'll be honest. You know, if I can get a few dollars rolling in, it'll help me a lot, because like I say, I haven't had any income for over a year. I'm not broke, but I just don't like emptying my bank account. So anyway, thanks for looking, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.